If you're not familiar with Oklahoma, we are 49th in education and we are ground zero for the white Christian nationalist movement. We're being evaluated by conservative leadership on the best practice of rolling this out in other states.
In Oklahoma, the frustration is real and rising fast. Many Trump voters are now facing the harsh truth: rising costs, lost jobs, and fading promises of prosperity. In this video, you'll hear real stories from Oklahomans caught in the middle of an economic meltdown. Listen closely. The truth can't be ignored.
ICE raids in Oklahoma. Supposedly over the weekend they got 120 people. Truckers is what they're going after.
Oklahoma is very competent. I love Oklahoma. 77 out of 77 districts. And that's never been done before. I did it 3 times. I mean, think of it. 3 times. Never been done. Ronald Reagan had the record, 56 out of 77. I got 77 out of 77. So you have to love a place like that. I love Oklahoma. But you know what? If they get hit with a tornado or something, let Oklahoma fix it.
All right, my TikTok friends, I am here to get your opinion on the government shutdown. Because of partisan disagreements, it left over 800,000 federal employees without work. And another 700,000 without pay.
Something I find genuinely crazy in the great state of Oklahoma is that we're about to vote for governor pretty soon. And almost every single one of them has talked about Trump positively and that they are pro his agenda. Are you stupid? He is polling negatively more so than he ever has. And you double down on that shit? Are you dumb?
Why is it in Oklahoma we can't offer free lunches to kids, but we can buy fully loaded crew cab trucks for one guy to drive around all day? And he gets to drive it home at night. Don't understand that either. You don't need a brand new truck, let alone a fully loaded one. You don't even need air conditioning. You just don't. How about we stop wasting our tax money on stupid things and start, I don't know, educating our children?
The Oklahoma House of Representatives has just declared a resolution saying that Christ is king in Oklahoma, which is gross and so beyond the concept of separation of church and state. It's hard to fathom.
I was willing to die and lost a leg in a foreign country fighting for their rights. There's no way I'm bending the only knee I have left for a king here in America. I can't sit idly by why rights are trampled on and ignored.
Will not bow before tyrants.
From 2003 to 2011, Oklahoma had a Democratic governor named Brad Henry, and under his tenure, they went from being 39th in student performance metrics to 30th, and in policy-based ranking, they were 17th. Now, under all Republican leadership, they are 50th in policy-based ranking, and in every other metric from teacher performance to student performance, they are ranked 48th to 50th. But the Bible's in schools.
Hey there, everybody. Oklahoma. What's wrong with you? We're ranked 49th in education in this country. Ranked 49th in the country. Only one state, I believe it's New Mexico, is worse than us. But yet, here we are, being led by the far-right Oklahoma State Superintendent, Ryan Walters, that pushes through legislation through a dominant Republican Oklahoma legislature that approves the false narrative, the untrue narrative, the discrepancies that Donald Trump pushed in 2020, that he supposedly won the election and that he didn't lose the election. Ryan Walters was able to push that legislation through our Oklahoma legislature, which is 80% Republican, and now it's going to be.
Next school year, Oklahoma teens statewide will have something new in their social studies curriculums, a section on President Trump's first term with a lesson centered on the 2020 election, where students will be asked to, quote, identify discrepancies in 2020 elections and the results by looking at graphs and other information, including the sudden halting of ballot counting in select cities in key battleground states, the security risks of mail-in balloting, sudden batch dumps, an unforeseen record number of voters, and the unprecedented contradiction of bellwether county trends. That right there is despite overwhelming evidence that there were no significant irregularities in the 2020 election results.
Why would you want Oklahoma students exposed to thoroughly debunked election conspiracy theories in the classroom?
Well, look, I've seen all those headlines too, and you know, here's the reality. Look, President Trump should have won the 2020 election. You know, you look at things like the ballot dumps, you look at the mail-in ballots, you look at the voter fraud, you look at the manipulation by the media in foreign countries, and look, what we've got in the standards are facts. We want critical thinking students, we want critical thinking Americans, we want them to look at the data, look at the statistics, and come to their own conclusion. We're not going to allow the left to force a narrative onto our kids, and so that's what we've
created. This isn't a narrative from the left, Mr. Walters. These are claims that failed time and time again in courts of law. People who I'm sure you know had the opportunity to bring quality evidence in front of judges, and they failed. So why would you want students to spend time on that?
Well, look, your own station reported some of the fraud. Your own station reported the batch dumps late at night. Look, it's about the facts, and they can come to their own conclusion. The students can look at these facts and say what happened in the election of 2020. But what we're not going to do is allow left-wing activists and the teachers' unions to come in and drive a narrative. Kids need to look at the facts. And listen, if I was the head of the most left-wing radical organization in the country that had the teachers' union, I'd hate these standards too. But the reality is we're going to teach Americanism, facts, and we're going to let kids come to their own conclusion on the election of 2020.
This doesn't really have a whole lot to do with teachers' unions. They're not even a party to this lawsuit. There are educators and families who are a party to this lawsuit against these new academic standards. You're being sued, by the way, by a lawyer who is a former attorney general, a Republican. And they're alleging basically that you tried to pull the wool over the eyes of fellow education leaders. I want to read this to make sure I get it right. Half of the Oklahoma State Board of Education claimed they were unaware they approved the standards in February, that the final version had significant differences from the version they had seen from your office in December. Were you trying to mislead them about what was in these standards?
Absolutely not. I mean, listen, some Republicans have been bought off with 30 pieces of silver from the teachers union. That's happening. But what we're going to continue
the teachers union isn't involved in this lawsuit. So it has to be someone else.
Come on now. The teachers union, the ACLU, they've been behind all these lawsuits against us. But listen, we stand by the facts. We're going to put facts forward and let kids decide. Listen, I know the left-wing media often spins a narrative and just forces it on folks, and facts bother them. Facts bother teachers unions. But what we're saying is, listen, kids, study this. Look at this. We want you to understand the elections. We want you to understand American history. And yes, the left is fighting mad because they've controlled our classrooms. The only reason we're sitting here talking about this today is because we're taking education back from the radical left. They're fighting mad about it, but we're going to get education back to an understanding of facts and history and let kids critically think. I think we should all be able to say we want critical thinkers. We want to be about facts, data, graphs, and charts. That's how we're going to study the election. That's how everyone across the country should be studying this election.
It's interesting that you keep bringing up the left. You talk a lot about woke teachers and indoctrination. But you quite literally tweeted this on X, or X this on X, on April 29th, calling these standards the most unapologetically conservative pro-America social studies standards in the nation. Is that not you kind of giving the game away there?
We're at a crossroads now, people. So on one side, we are going to move forward with how we always have been. And on the other side, we have to do something different. The thing is, we have people that are being elected that are not telling us anything. All they're saying is, I'm with Trump. I'm with Trump. We have another kind of people that are like, oh, well, I just don't want like woke. Tell me how you're going to help our healthcare. Because I'm hearing that there's a whole healthcare crisis up in Miami. Tell me how you're going to help our children. Because Oklahoma is having a big issue right now when it comes to, obviously, our education system. Our poverty levels are abysmal. We have one of the highest self-unaliving in the country. And I wish I could just say it for what it is. Say the ugly word. We have a problem in Oklahoma, and most of our people in power just want to ride off of Donald Trump's coattails. And this isn't even me bashing Donald Trump.
We did it, Oklahoma. We fucking did it. We are 50 out of 50. We are officially the dumbest fucking state in the United States of America.
So are we all just going to sit back and act like we don't see what's going on? If you speak out against a certain country, or if you go against a certain country, you're out of there. If you go to college and somebody that's a teacher or anything like that at that college says something against that certain country, they're cutting funding. Matter of fact, in the beginning of the year, they were talking about deporting U.S. citizens for protesting in favor of Palestine at a college. Yet we voted this same person in because of we wanted free speech. I remember last year when the left was talking about, oh, Trump's going to come out with Project 2025. I was like, yeah, Project 2025, let's go. Instead, what we got was much worse than what the left thought. We got Trump and Netanyahu in office, and Trump's doing tricks on it.
I'm making this video because I voted for Trump, and a lot of my followers are Trump supporters. And I fully expect that I will probably lose a lot of friends and followers because of this opinion. First of all, if we are friends and you can't see past politics to continue being my friend, I just want to say I don't hold any ill will towards you. I totally understand if you feel the need to unfollow me, block me, and not be my friend anymore. I respect it completely. I just don't think we have the same Donald Trump that we had circa 2016 to 2020. This is not the same man. Somewhere along the way, he lost his way. To deny help to tornado victims. Then I heard he denied further assistance from FEMA to North Carolina. This is not the man we voted for. If you are upper middle class or below, I don't see how any of us are faring well under this president. And how long are we just going to close our eyes to it and pretend it's not happening because it's him? And at least it wasn't the other guy. I will no longer stand by and pretend that I have hope in this president, because I don't. This past weekend, what he did last night was 1,000,000% unacceptable. And if any other president did that, everybody would be losing their marbles. The cuts he made to programs that help lower income people, these secret dinners with people wearing masks. It's just craziness at this point, guys. And I just can no longer stand here and say I support it, because I don't. No, I'm not a Democrat. I don't trust the government at all. But I just hope our friendships are strong enough that you guys don't base it just on something political. But understand, I fully expect that I will lose friendships. And I'm sorry to see you go, but I hope you can understand my side.
Across Oklahoma's small towns and cities, frustration is turning into doubt. Families who once believed in promises of change are now struggling to make ends meet. The movement they trusted is being tested by an economy that's left far too many behind.
A new bill has been filed in Oklahoma by, of course, Republicans, because I don't think there's more than like 4 Democrats in the entire state. And this bill says that every public university in the state must have a Charlie Kirk Memorial Plaza with a statue of Kirk and his family. Here's part of what the bill actually says. Each square or plaza shall include permanent signage commemorating Charlie Kirk's courage and faith and explaining the significance of Charlie Kirk as a voice of a generation, modern civil rights leader, vocal Christian, martyr for truth and faith, and free speech advocate. The square or plaza plans shall include a statue of Charlie Kirk sitting at a table with an empty seat across from him, or a statue of Charlie Kirk and his wife standing and holding their children in their arms as a central element of the square or plaza design.
Oklahoma made about $200 billion last year, which is around 30th. That's where you would expect a state of that population. However, their median household income was in the bottom 5. Their poverty was 6th worst. Their schools were the absolute worst. 2/3 of their hospitals have no labor and delivery unit. And half of their hospitals are in danger of closing. Those are just the various important stats that I use to measure how a state is taking care of its people. I also find it very interesting that they proposed $3 million in Bible costs to put Bibles in the classrooms in Oklahoma, blatantly violating the First Amendment.
And like they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Yep.
I'm a blue dot in Oklahoma, and after the last election, every time I'd be going down the road or out in public somewhere, I could not help but think, oh my God, I am surrounded by Trump supporters, right? Like, everyone here voted red.
And to those of you who say, I don't get involved in politics, I don't discuss politics, I don't pay attention to politics, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because literally every aspect of your life is political. Where you work, what you eat, where your kids go to school, what they learn, what you're exposed to. It's all political. Everything in your life is political. So if you are choosing to stick your head in the sand and say, I'm just not a political person, that's the easy way out. You might as well say, I really just don't care.
I need people in the state of Oklahoma to hear me and to really listen. I don't care what way you lean. I don't care. If SNAP benefits do, in fact, pause on November 1st, I need you to understand that in the state of Oklahoma, not talking about national statistics, in the state of Oklahoma, 1 in 6 people is on SNAP benefits. If you genuinely think that 1 in 6 people does not work, I can't help you. But in this state, 1 in 6 people is on SNAP benefits. Nationally, 1 in 4 children is on SNAP benefits. That means that if you know 12 people, statistically speaking, 2 of them are on SNAP benefits.
Oklahoma was the last state to repeal prohibition. We repealed it in, I believe, 1959, even though the constitutional amendment happened, I think, in 1933. Now, Will Rogers, the famous Oklahoman that our airport is named after, famously said that Oklahomans will vote dry as long as they can stagger to the polls. And he also coined the term bootlegger Baptist, which is a stereotype of Oklahomans, meaning that we want to be perceived as righteous and upstanding and moral and Christian and godly people, but in reality, we're not.
This video is for people in Oklahoma. If you're not from here, feel free to scroll down. Did you know our state exported $1.9 billion to Canada and $630 million to Mexico in 2023? Both Canada and Mexico have been our largest trading partners for decades. How do I know that? I used to be the director of global services for the state of Oklahoma.
As somebody who lives in a red state, let me just tell you what MAGA supermajorities get you. We're 50th in education, the worst in the whole country for women to live. We're poorer, worst health care. And if you look at the bottom 10 states in the United States of America, they are all MAGA supermajorities. These policies hurt people. They use people's faith to lure them in and say, oh, we're family values, but then they don't vote to help women have children. They don't vote for health care. They don't vote for child care. They demean the poor. I live in a red state where policies, Oklahoma, and these policies have horrifically impacted people in rural America that vote for this very party because they weaponize their faith and lure them in.
Hey, real quick, to the almost 250,000 Oklahomans who are about to lose their Sooner Care, I want you to know that it was Republicans that did that, okay? 3 times, House Democrats were trying to save your health care. We're trying to save Medicare, Medicaid, and Sooner Care for Oklahomans. And 3 times, Republicans voted against it, okay? They wanted to put an amendment that says, hey, if you make $10 million or more, then you don't get a tax break, and that will help save health care for Americans. And House Republicans voted no. And then they tried again. They said, hey, people making $500 million or more, how about we not give them a tax break and save Americans Medicare and Medicaid and your Sooner Care? And they voted no. Republicans unanimously voted no to not save your Sooner Care. Oh, and then they tried a 3rd time to try to save you and your health care, and House Republicans voted no. They voted no because they wanted to give billionaires who already have enough money to spend $1 million a day for the next 500 years. But no, they need more money. They need more money. You don't need your health care. You don't need it. You don't need health care. Who needs health care? Those billionaires deserve another tax break. They deserve that money because they worked hard. They worked for that tax break. You obviously didn't work. That's why you don't get your health care. So anyway, when you lose your health care, when you lose your sooner care, you can thank Republicans for that. So when they start kicking out old people and they start not accepting old people in the nursing homes because they don't have those benefits anymore, again, I want you to thank Republicans for this, because this is what you voted for. This is what you voted for them to take away your sooner care, for them to take away your Medicare and Medicaid. Because what's more important, the American people being happy and healthy, or billionaires getting tax breaks? The answer is billionaires getting tax breaks. That's what's more important to our politicians in this country. So just so you know who to blame when you lose your health care, may you have the day you deserve.
Oklahoma just got called out for unprecedented financial mismanagement. We're talking tens of millions of your taxpayer dollars at risk. So this comes from the federal audit of Oklahoma's finances for 2023. Auditors flagged nearly $93.4 million in spending that was either against the rules, undocumented, or just plain wasteful. Add that to the last 3 years, and Oklahoma has racked up $186 million in bad spending. And here's the kicker. If Oklahoma can't prove this money was used right, the federal government can demand it back. That means higher federal taxes, higher state taxes, and cuts to the services you and your family rely on. The audit found that the Office of Management and Enterprise Services mismanaged $21.8 million meant for rental assistance during the pandemic. That left more than 7,600 Oklahomans denied the help they qualified for. And the Department of Human Services failed to safeguard over $63.6 million meant for child care and welfare programs. State Auditor Cindy Bird said it herself, Oklahoma has a culture of financial mismanagement, and until we fix it, we're the ones stuck paying the bill. Now you let me know, how do you guys feel about Oklahoma mismanaging so much of our tax dollars and us having to potentially pay it back?
State Board of Education just finished up their July meeting. If you're not familiar with Oklahoma, we are 49th in education and we are ground zero for the white Christian nationalist movement. We're being evaluated by conservative leadership on the best practice of rolling this out in other states. Here in Oklahoma, they're using tactics like PragerU. PragerU is a far-right propaganda platform tailored for students. The experiment does not need to be complete in order for us to understand what's going to happen. They're going to be taught revisionist history. So everything that they're learning in school, in their books and on videos, is going to be completely different than what they see in real life. That's going to cause some cognitive issues. It's going to isolate kids who come from families with different backgrounds. With discriminatory policies, kids are going to feel like they don't belong. They're going to feel like outsiders. And with discriminatory policy, there's going to be little the parents can do about it. There will be no separation of church and state. All schools would be religious schools. They will be indoctrinated. They will be deprived of independent thought. They will blunt critical thinking skills. They will blunt social skills. They will confuse your kids about what's reality and what is fiction. The Awareness platform that was designed to discourage bullying will be misused, and teachers who don't conform and students that don't conform will be reported. Organizations like Libs of TikTok will dox you, and they'll dox your kids. There will be loyalty tests. Students who are being bullied now for thinking differently will have no remedy, with no mental health resources, because kids will no longer trust the system. This isn't just going to affect our kids. This is going to affect everybody's kids. That's what we're looking at. As a side note, as I discussed in one of my other videos about PragerU, call your school and make sure that they're not using those materials on your kids. Tell them that you want to opt out of PragerU material and content. Get on the phone with your governors.
Gas prices just hit $3.79 in Oklahoma, which means that working an hour at minimum wage will not even buy you 2 gallons of gas. Is the future fun?
My local grocery store just trying to casually scam us.
Oh my gosh, $21.99 a pound, $42.82 for those 2 ribeyes.
This much of toilet paper? $32.99. Am I?
But I have a question. Since when is a Cheeto bag $7.29?
I've never
This is crazy.
American dollars. Dog.
$8 for a 12-pack of pop.
I mean, that seems a little steep. Is it just me or?
Coffee is very expensive now, y'all. Look at it, $24.
What's going on?
Cereal. Cereal, milk.
Marmite is $10.
That's fucking horrible.
Somebody explain this.
$7.49 for some hazelnut Nutella spread.
Hey, whoever thought it $1.99 for a Capri Sun powder.
Again, we just see crazy prices here on everything. $2 for a little juice pack. We see the $8.99 or $8.39 sodas. It's like $10.99, $11.99 in a lot of places.
I just want to say that these grocery prices are so ridiculous, and it's really starting to piss me off because it feels like all of our extra income is going straight to groceries. I mean, we were spending before like $150 a week on a family of 4 for groceries. Now we're pushing $400 plus a week for groceries. The cost of meat is absolutely insane. We used to be able to get a pack of ground beef for like $6 or something like that. Now I went to Walmart today. It was $17 for a pack of ground beef to make some tacos. Like what?
This is what $10 worth of groceries looks like. That's it. Grapes were half off. I don't know what the world's coming to.
So I'm at the grocery store right now, and a couple observations. Everything is insanely expensive. It's been expensive, but it's getting to the point where it's like unsustainable to just keep shopping for food, as crazy as that sounds. The second thing is, why are we still using coupons? What is the deal with coupons? Why doesn't the grocery store just knock down the price to what it should be with the coupon? Why do I have to like pull this little ticket here? Or why do I have to go on the store's app to get the lowest price? Just give me the lowest price.
You know what's crazy to me is how $1,000 a week isn't enough anymore. Like, you can't really live off $1,000 a week. I mean, yeah, you can if you get some like raggedy ass apartment with 1 bedroom, okay, and that's gonna cost you over $1,000 a month now. And then you got cars that are selling like $20,000 at the minimum for brand new cars, okay? They're around $20,000 to $30,000 a year. You're gonna have a car payment of like $400 a month for like 6 years, and life is just not being affordable anymore, dude. And gas prices is $5 a gallon now. Our food price is gonna go up like it did in COVID, probably, and it goes up and it never goes back down. Once the gas prices are down, food prices stay up. Everything is not affordable anymore. I'm sick of this shit. I just want a better life. I want to have a nice house on a lake with a boat. Is that too much to ask for? Why the hell am I making over $1,000 a week and I can only afford a one bedroom apartment? It's bullshit, guys.
Mr. Mazie, concurrent jurisdiction, should the state Thank you. Should the state have concurrent jurisdiction in eastern Oklahoma?
Oklahoma Governor Stitt.
Wings now. What's your take on the state question next month?
Yeah, terrible policy. Government doesn't need to get involved in private business that says, hey, you should pay him this or this. But the bigger issue with that state question is it also mandatorily climbs and it goes up every single year. And if you look out over 10 years, we're going to have higher mandatory minimum wage than they have in California. And that is going to destroy some of the small businesses, right? But minimum wage, entry-level jobs should be for high school, and you're not supposed to stay entry level. You're supposed to learn a skill and continue to grow. And what other people don't realize is prices just go up proportionally. So it's not actually helping the people that they try to help.
So the last part has already been proven to be false multiple times over. It's been proven that in areas where the minimum wage has been drastically increased, the prices do not go up proportionally. You see a slight tick upward, but not proportionate.
A lot of politicians will smile in your face, shake your hand, and then sell you out the second the cameras turn off. And Oklahoma has had enough of that bullshit. Or maybe it's time that Oklahoma sends a different kind of man to the governor's office.
Do you know that the 5-year span, I think ending in 24, that Oklahoma had over a 60% increase in their budget? Now, some of that they'll claim is because some movement of road money. OCPA had an article on this. I haven't been able to find it lately, but that is the most increase in budget in the entire nation over that by double. Like New York was 30%, California was only at 13%, and so Oklahoma is out of control.
Why in Oklahoma is grocery so expensive? Can someone explain to me what is the cheapest grocery store, and can you get food stamps, or do they just take SNAP? But I don't even get food stamps, so I'm just really curious. Why are groceries very expensive? Why are eggs $6? Why is gas so expensive? Can someone tell me why things are so expensive?
When I was a kid, I used to think, I can't wait to be an adult. It's going to be so fun. No one's going to tell me what to do. It's going to be great. Ha, yeah, wrong. This shit sucks. It's ghetto. Gas is over $4 a gallon. You walk into Walmart just to walk into the store. You spend $50 just to breathe the Walmart air. You want to buy anything? 3 bags of things? $200. I don't understand how anyone is surviving off of one income or even 2 incomes right now. We have 3 kids. My husband and I both have full-time jobs, plus we do a crap ton of side gigs, and I feel like we are still in that paycheck to paycheck cycle. Like, we are able to pay our bills. Sometimes we're able to have a little extra, and I'm thankful that we can pay our bills, but holy crap. Like, can we get a break? Like, can we get a break? I feel like everyone just needs a break. Maybe just like a couple months of no bills so we can just breathe. And not to mention everything you have to keep up with as an adult, especially if you're a parent as well. It's just a lot. And I'm like, can we all get a break? Just a little one, please.
36 MAGA Republicans in Oklahoma voted against a ban for child marriage. What? Yes, 36 MAGA Republicans in the State House of Representatives in Oklahoma voted against a ban of allowing children to get married in Oklahoma. What the hell? Yeah, they did. It passed the Senate in Oklahoma unanimously. It's Senate Bill 504. But when it came to the Oklahoma House of Representatives, it did finally pass 51 to 36, with 36 MAGA Republicans voting against the child marriage ban. Now, why would MAGA Republicans vote against a child marriage ban? Really? Yep, same reason we can't get these Epstein files out, I guess. I don't know. But somebody in Oklahoma needs to be asking this question. Who have y'all elected? Really?
Okay, if you want proof of Oklahoma being last in education, I'm going to give you one example. Go to any small town in Oklahoma, go to their Facebook page or their community group page, scroll through the comments, and look at how many people are so happy that you can't buy soda pop and candy with your EBT anymore. Meanwhile, they have no idea or knowledge because they're willfully ignorant. They have no idea that we're funding another country's war, that we're funding their university education as well as their free health care. You're just concerned because we're fat.
Are you a Trumper who's upset about gas prices, energy prices in general, grocery prices? If this sounds like you, I have a revolutionary idea that will change your life. It's called Shut the Fuck Up. You voted for this. Now deal with it.
Oklahomans say their paychecks aren't keeping pace with rising expenses, forcing difficult choices and growing frustration. These first-hand accounts reveal the challenges facing families as they struggle to keep up with the cost of everyday necessities.
This is going to be a controversial post, but it needs to be said. We're living in a time where 2 incomes in a household just isn't enough to live comfortably anymore. And people on 1 income, it's even harder. And some people are out here working overtime and they can still barely afford rent, basic necessities, gas, groceries, utilities, etc. Before anybody comments, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't be buying coffee. Excuse me, no. We work our asses off. We deserve to have a little something. The problem is the cost of living has skyrocketed, but wages has not, and especially rent. It's honestly just becoming out of reach. Homes that were bought for low prices years ago and sometimes even inherited, people are charging $1,200, $1,400, $1,600 plus. a month, even when it's already paid off. That's robbery and pure greed. And I am talking about Oklahoma. Nobody is asking for luxury, just a chance to breathe. I mean, without having to choose between bills and just basic necessities. It shouldn't take two incomes to live paycheck to paycheck. And it shouldn't be impossible for one income households to be able to survive. And it shouldn't feel like only the wealthy should be the ones living in comfort. We deserve to live, not just to survive.
Would you say cost of living is probably the most pressing issue facing Oklahoma this session?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have, especially seniors, we're hearing they just can't get by. They've got their property taxes going up, and I think we see those concerns around, whether we need to cut back property taxes. Well, I said, let's tackle the housing insurance issue, because that's hurting people in another way, and that's about our safety and our security if we have major storms or other issues.
Hey, it's Jackson with Yes on Raise the Wage. Today we are going to be seeing how many hours you would have to work on minimum wage to buy a tank of gas. Let's go.
The wage hasn't been raised in nearly 2 decades now, while rent, groceries, and utilities keep rising. Around 200,000 kids in Oklahoma will have a parent who gets a raise if we vote yes on State Question 832. Now, with the minimum wage being $7.25, the hours worked to afford this tank of gas is around 9.4. That's crazy.
And we're talking about minimum wage. I'm going to show you why it's the same conversation, so come with me. I just want to show you the scale and the comparison of the minimum wage and the prices of groceries. And I chose a store that I think has good prices. I should also mention I have a family of 4, so 2 adults and 2 kids. My kids eat so much fruit. This is for my husband. This is just a kid haul. That was $109. And if I was working a minimum wage job, that would be 15 hours of work. The ground beef alone would be 1 whole hour of work. We know that thousands of Oklahomans work on $7.25 an hour, and those jobs are really meaningful and keep Oklahoma's economy strong. We need to ensure that we value those workers and support those workers, and we need to raise their wage. It's been since 2009 was the last time that minimum wage was raised.
First, let me say this. I know every state and every city has their own prices for gas. But to be this much of a difference, it's ridiculous. And I know probably up north is much higher than it is down here, down south. But my thing is, when I left home a couple days ago, I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Gas was over $4. I'm in Texas, Tyler, Texas to be exact, and gas is $3.49. Can y'all believe that? Look how cheap that gas is. To me, that's cheap. Now, the thing is, I would like it if it was a little bit cheaper, but apparently in this economy, right now, that's the cheapest it's gonna get. They just taking money from us any type of way they can. They want money for everything. If it's not the subscriptions, it's food going up. All the necessities that I feel like we need to survive on this big ball of fire that we own, it's just going up.
And to live in Oklahoma, everybody should be making 17 something. But no, that's 10 below minimum wage. To be able to live in a house and be able to pay rent and pay for food bills and everything else that we need to survive, we have to make more than $7.25 an hour, because you're going to continue to let all these businesses and people pay us less, and then you're going to continue to see a raise in homelessness, which you guys are fixing. How is that being fixed when it's 3 times the rent to pay for anything? 3 times the rent for this, 3 times the rent for that. I have to make almost $2,000 a month. $3,000 a month to even be able to afford an apartment. But then you guys take my taxes out on top of it and then leave me with barely anything. So please can explain to me, Oklahoma, how the voting no on the raising minimum wage is going to affect us when we're already supposed to be at $17 an hour to be able to live in Oklahoma.
This is why seniors in Oklahoma are struggling so much right now when it comes to the decisions being made in Washington. It directly affects your quality of life because of its effect on the economy. I'm going to give you a real life example of a 70-year-old female who lives in Oklahoma. Her Social Security check before they take anything out of it is $2,100 per month. Now let's start some simple math. Her Medicare Plan G premium is $142.37 a month. Before her Social Security check even hits the bank, they take out her Part B premium, which is $202.90 a month. So she's already out $345 and some change just for her health insurance. The average price of a gallon of gas in Oklahoma right now is over $4. For a single senior, they have to be in the range of about $1,300 to $1,800 a month to receive any extra help or Medicaid from the state of Oklahoma. You got to have health insurance. You make a little too much to get any meaningful help. If we look at this from just an objective perspective, here are the facts. Gas is up because of the conflict in Iran. The conflict in Iran is a direct result of the current sitting president's decisions. The people running for office in Oklahoma are bragging about their support of that president. And the unfortunate truth is that we have people who are either running for political office or holding a political office currently who really don't care if those Medicare recipients or Social Security recipients are struggling to make ends meet. But the thing that affects most of us is our financial well-being. Can I put gas in my car? Can I afford my medications? Can I afford my insurance? And not feel like I have to decide whether or not I'm going to pay an electric bill or put gas in my car to go visit my grandkids.
And we have to make our voices heard now if we want to stop being the piggy bank for billion-dollar companies.
Folks, I want to ask you something. Do you know what no politician is telling you about these data centers? Energy. Not jobs, not economic development, energy. So when you move massive data centers into Oklahoma, and you got to understand, I'm talking about the facilities that use as much electricity as a small town. Folks, they don't create energy, they consume it. And if you understand supply and demand, you're going to understand this. When demand goes up and supply doesn't keep up with it, the prices go up. So that means higher electric bills, higher water bills, higher infrastructure costs, and guess who pays for those upgrades to substations, transmission lines, and water systems? We do. Now, I want you to understand that the politicians up in Oklahoma City, they're fine. They've got plenty of money. They've got generational wealth, and they've got jobs waiting for them when they leave office. But the regular working families, farmers, and seniors on fixed income, folks like us, we don't have that cushion. Folks, I want you to understand, I'm not against growth, but I am against corporate welfare that raises utility bills so a billion-dollar company can profit. That's not left versus right. That's the people versus the political machine. Someone needs to say it. Folks, this is a we thing, not a me thing.
I'm getting bills in the mail nearly every single week. Here's another bill for $1,261. What's the description for? Actually, it doesn't even say.
But girl, let's clear a few things up. You supported your own demise. Again. You actively support an administration that passed things like the One Big Beautiful Bill, which made healthcare prices go up for millions of Americans, directly and indirectly. It just so happens to be affecting you now. Because this is part of a whole domino effect. When hospitals lose Medicaid funding, they only have a few choices. They can close, lay people off, or raise prices to make up for the funds they lost. It's also well documented that when hospitals close, surviving hospitals increase their prices because there's fewer options and less leverage for insurance providers to negotiate lower prices. And that's if they can get care at all. Riley, I know we're just talking about your problems, but consider that Trump's policies have created care deserts, so many expectant mothers are left without access to care at all. Fewer options for care, and it's more expensive. That's what this administration you support has accomplished so far.
And I think right now what we're facing, not only as a state, but as a country, are leaders who are so disconnected and they don't really understand what everyday people are going through. And what I'm sensing from voters, it's less about partisan politics right now. It's about authenticity and that do you understand what I'm going through? And if you do, and because I feel that you do, I feel that I can trust you more to actually address the issues that I'm facing in my everyday life around paying rent, putting gas in my car, paying for my groceries, being able to build a future that I don't have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to feed my family and to take care of my kids. And I want to make sure my kids have childcare, a quality public education, and can go to college or get a job without having to be stressed every single day. And I believe that's where Oklahomans are, and I sense that because I've been talking to them.
These stories from Oklahoma offer a glimpse into the financial pressures affecting families across the state. From rising grocery bills, gas, to higher housing and utility costs, many residents say they're working harder just to maintain their standard of living. These experiences highlight the real-world impact of economic challenges on everyday Americans. What do you think is driving these rising costs? And what solutions would make the biggest difference? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Click the video on your screen to hear more stories from communities across America.